What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got a fun Brawl video for you guys here. This one we're in a Gruul list, and our Commander-in-Chief is Domri, Anarch of Bolas. It's a 3 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Creatures you control get +1/+0, so it's very aggressively slanted. You can +1 to add red or green to your mana pool, and creature spells you cast can't be countered. So that's pretty cool. Then -2, you can have one of your creatures fight one of your opponent's creatures. So it's a nice little kind of removal and ramp at the same time. And for 3 mana, it's a very ideal commander because it's very easy to replay it. As obviously, first time it just costs 3, but after that there's initial commander tax of 2. So the cheaper you can get your commander, the better off you generally are. And so Domri kind of fits that bill. But mostly it gives us an excuse to play trample creatures. There's lots of nice trample creatures in standard right now. And so that's kind of the main focus of the deck. So we'll just kind of quickly go over some of the cards here, and then we'll jump into some matches so you guys can see how it does. So obviously Pelt Collector is a 1/1 that can get trample once it has enough counters on it. We do have some early interaction here with Lava Coil and Scorching Dragonfire. And of course we have some ramp here with Incubation Druid and Paradise Druid that also can fix our mana as well. The Crawl Harpooner, just a nice aggressively statted creature that also can fight flying creatures as well, which can be relevant sometimes. Ram through for some additional removal. Collision Colossus is just a fantastic way to push through for additional trample damage or to remove any large flyers. Domri's Ambush and Thrash Threat are great removal spells as well. Thrash Threat is nice because it has the threat side where if you don't need the removal side, you can just make a 4/4 beast token with trample, so that's pretty cool. And then of course Thrash being able to fight planeswalkers as well is nice. Bone Crusher Giant, of course, is just a fantastic card to be playing in Gruul, so it's here. Brontodon, just a nice 3/4 body that can also take out enchantments and artifacts. And so that's kind of a key to Brawl, just having as much flexibility in your list as possible. Yorvo is a little awkward with the triple green mana, but, you know, just as a one-of, so it should be fine. Grumgully, of course, making all of our creatures bigger. Of course, Gruul Spellbreaker is kind of automatic inclusion. What's a running Colossus? Just a nice way to also have some more ramp or some ping your opponent for 2 points and you gain 2 at the same time. Rhythm of Wild to get your bigger creatures later on haste, or to make them even bigger depending on what you're up against. Warden of the Chain is a 4/4 with trample for 3. That's pretty cool. There's a Crystalline Giant. It's a 3 mana 3/3 that can get trample in addition to all these other keyword abilities. So that's a pretty cool way to fill out your 3-drop slot there. The Witchstalker is a 4/4 with trample, and you get a food token. So sometimes the food token with gaining life can help you out a little bit as well. And of course, Gemrazer has reach and trample, and you can mutate onto something and take out an artifact or an enchantment. Questing Beast doesn't really need much explanation. Ceratops is also pretty just fantastic all-around card. And of course, being able to pay to give it trample as well is on flavor. And then Vivien also gives our creatures trample. But the -3 where you can fight other creatures is fantastic. Frenzied Arynx, not the best card, but obviously it does have Riot, so that's pretty cool. And then you can pay 6, so it's a nice mana sink to give it +3/+0. And to end of turn, it already does have the built-in trample, so you can just kind of pump this up and just get in for 6 or 7 trampling damage in addition to any of your other threats. So it can be a pretty decent card at times. And of course, the Wildbonder means all of your creatures with trample basically just can deal damage straight to face and close out the game. Ilharg is just a fun one, 5 mana 6/6 trample that is hard to get rid of, and you can cheat in some of your other bigger creatures. And then of course on the Planeswalker side, we got Lukka as a way to, we can exile one of our mana dorks and then ramp into something bigger basically. Or we can just use it for card advantage, you get additional creatures. Or if we're in a kind of a board stall, we get to the -7 option, we can have all of our creatures basically kill off our opponent. And of course Vivien, 5 mana Planeswalker is pretty fantastic as well, as it can make 3/3 beasts with trample if we want, or we can choose reach or vigilance as well. And then of course being able to get additional creatures into play with any creature we cast, and then being able to cast creatures from the top of our libraries. It's fantastic card advantage engine. And of course the big daddy here, Quartzwood Crasher, 6/6 trample. That whenever our creatures with trample deal combat damage to a player, we total up all that trample damage that's dealt, and we make a single beast dinosaur beast token that also has trample as well, equal to the amount of damage dealt. And of course, Zolortha is a 7/3 trample. However, lethal damage dealt is determined by your creature's power rather than their toughness. This is fantastic against like any damage-based effects like a Deafening Clarion, Storm's Wrath, things like that. And of course, just creature damage as well. And then we also have the Embercleave, of course. Help us close out some games and works really well with obviously Quartzwood Crasher and things like that. Stonecoil Serpent is just a beautiful way to also get an additional trample creature out with the protection of multicolored, can be relevant against a lot of decks. And then of course it scales, so that's perfect, so it goes anywhere on the curve, anywhere from like 2 to 7 or 8 or whatever the case may be. Purphoros Intervention is a nice piece of removal and gives you a trample creature at the same time. I should say, or gives you a trample creature. So that's pretty sweet, having that flexibility. And Voracious Hydra is also a trample creature that can fight some creature on the other side, or you can just make it really huge. That's a pretty solid option as well. And then the mana base, pretty simple here. The one of each of the castles, 8 mountains, 9 forests, Guildgate, lands, Stomping Ground, Temple Abandoned, and the Fabled Passage. Alright, so that's the deck, and yeah, jump into the Brawl Hall while it's free to play for the next few weeks. Okay, and of course we're up against Niv Mizzet, probably the most popular Brawl commander in standard Brawl at least. Alright, so we do have some options here. It's a decent hand. So obviously we're going to lead on Stomping Ground, and let's kind of go from there. Don't expect the Niv Mizzet deck to have a early play, so we'll probably just get out the Stonecoil for 2 just to kind of have a threat on board. Don't expect this matchup to go especially well, since these decks are pretty nasty. They always seem to have what they need. So yeah, we'll go ahead and crash in for 2. I think we'll just get another creature down. I don't think the stop is super important. You want to just kind of get some of these big boys down, use Domri to pump them up, and hopefully we can kind of get to an Embercleave stage before they can do anything crazy. Shatter the Sky or some sweeper effect or something like that. Alright, so here we can... It's Domri and Lava Coil. Go on that red. Just love that you don't have to use that mana to play creatures. You can use that mana for anything you want. That's pretty cool. Oath of Kai is going to ping off the Bone Crusher Giant. Stonecoil Serpent is, of course, not a legal target. Attack for 3, and get Godzilla down.
What's that? Something smells rotten. Wait, that might be.
Alright, now we're in a pretty decent spot. If they don't have removal for these guys, then potentially could win the game here with this Colossus. Down comes the Niv Daddy. So they get some good hits with the removal, but they currently are showing 1 mana open. So unless they have another untapped land here, I think we have them. So they got the Rampage as well, and the Despark. No land, okay. Wildbonder wins it here as well. Yep. Whew, Wildbonder coming in clutch. But either way, we did have the Colossus. We could have had Domri fight the 8/8 versus the 6/6, I should say. So yeah. Either way, that's a pretty nice showing from the deck. Wasn't really sure what to expect against Niv Mizzet, and obviously we just did get there because they had tons of removal in their hand. So yeah, obviously Niv is one of the more powerful and popular commanders in Brawl. And yeah, just getting those creatures down and just punishing them before they were able to find removal. We were able to get the job done. that. Nicol Bolas is also a pretty nasty commander, but of course it's just going to be removal deck basically. Ceratops could be okay. Brontodon's pretty medium, but it is a decent sized body. I definitely don't want to go down lose any more card advantage against this deck by trying to mulligan and then maybe getting a worse hand, so I think we'll keep it. And obviously we're over things like Ritual of Soot, so they're just going to need lots and lots of spot removal. Which most of it isn't blue based. So the Ceratops is medium. I don't know, it's not a great hand against Nicol Bolas. We do get a free mulligan. Probably do need more aggressive start here actually against the style of deck. Well, this isn't amazing. Vivien could be nice to keep pumping out creatures to recover from the removal. We are missing green sources to cast Yorvo on curve. If they do play any like a Thief of Sandy or some other type of creature, we do have the removal. So we do find a forest. That's good for potentially a Yorvo. Otherwise, we're probably just looking at Bone Crusher Giant into Arynx. And right away, as our opponent is roping, or just has a slow connection or something. Yep, cracking that Evolving Wilds for their 3-color deck. Okay, so they already have some black sources. Yep. Slaughter Priest. Not what I would have expected from this. Usually these Bolas decks are much more controlling, so that's kind of interesting, seeing the turn 2 creature. And that's a sacrifice based creature, so. And Priest of Forgotten Gods. Well, we don't want that either, so. So they're more of a sacrifice build, but we've been able to answer all of their threats so far. Well, except for that. It's going to be a 2-2 now. I guess we just play the Bone Crusher Giants, since they know we have it, so they're going to have some removal spell, I'm sure. They'll at least take 2 damage, but then they're going to get in for 2. Make it a 3-3. If we can find a land, this Domri might give us some more options next turn, although here's where Yorvo is kind of awkward in our list. Okay, you're tapped out, you're in your combat phase. And you're just slow playing, okay. Cool. Yep, you had all the removal. Yeah, it's just Domri and Paradise Druid, I guess.
You think I'm a crazy? I've lived with animals my entire life.
So it does have hexproof and the 3 power thanks to Domri. We can at least block. And they can deal 3 damage to Domri, make it at 1, or they can just ping our face. But I think we will block here just to get rid of this Butcher before it gets any bigger. We don't have great removal for it otherwise. Just kind of a weakness of Gruul. But so far they're not showing removal for Domri, so that's good. They're just going face. Alright, we'll take that block. Domri's at least at 4, so they can ping it down to 1, which is fine. Could have a shock or something though.
Now you're getting the spirit.
It's better they shock our commander, which we can replay, rather than something else. Okay, there's their blue source, so they're 1 black source away from Bolas. So a little not the best.
What's that? Something smells rotten. Wait, that might be me.
Let's see. I do want to get this Quartzwood down, but that's a little. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. We only have 3 left. Just play Vivien. We need to fight through all their removal first.
Every creature deserves life, and I will protect it.
Let's go with Vigilance.
We will adapt to any threat.
They have a Tyrant Scorn. Which they couldn't use on Parachute because of the Hexproof, so that worked out. Now they can attack for 1, but that's not really a big deal. Okay, they bring back a Dreadhorde Butcher with their 3-mana spell. Okay, so they can Bolas next turn. So down goes Domri. I'm not sure Domri's doing anything too amazing on this board, but that's what they feel they want to take out. Definitely like to Rhythm into Crasher, but we'll see. So I think Bolas comes down and probably just exile the Garenbrig from our hand. Unless they choose to destroy a creature. Alright, so we got our Arynx down just to have a blocker. Or a threat that Bolas has to target. Alright, so we just kind of need to hold down the fort. So we have our Rhythm in place, so they can't counter, although they don't seem to have... don't imagine they're on a counterspell plan with this deck. Seem very aggressively slanted. Guessing it's kind of a Rakdos sacrifice player trying to leverage Bolas as their commander. So yeah, they can destroy one of our creatures, but we still have a good blocker. They can draw a card. We'll happily exile this Yorvo, since it's just kind of stuck in our hand. Obviously, Domri could give us the 3rd green to cast it, but this stage of the game, it's not really a huge deal. I think just having the Crasher come down with Trample and take out Bolas is pretty sweet. Okay, so they get rid of our Arynx, and they use the Butcher to get rid of the Beast token as well, and they attack Domri for 1. Sure, we're gonna
Now you're getting the spirit.
trample through here. So yeah, let's make a 3/3 with Vigilance.
Diversity is our greatest strength.
Wow. So them not having removal for Vivien and just being able to pump out creatures every turn was clutch there. Definitely was worried they're going to be on just the removal.deck plan. But fortunately they were more of a creature aggro based. And yeah, we were able to just outvalue them. And Crasher was about to come down and do the job. Not sure why they conceded there that early. They had their Bolas online. I guess they just didn't have much in hand. Alright, so after facing the Bolas commander, we get the Bolas avatar, but Corvold, so this is definitely going to be a sacrifice build. So it's a little slow. We do get the... Let's actually mulligan this. It's a little awkward. I think this is fine. We still have the Crasher and Ilharg, which is weird, but we'll take it. So we get the turn 2 Harpooner, so depending on what they have, we can... like these decks always have the Gilded Goose, but nope. No turn 1 Gilded Goose this time, so we'll just get our 3/2 threat down. Start pressuring them. And Domri next turn. And if they do have a spell here, a creature, we can fight and just get rid of it. So there's the turn 2 Goose. I think I'm fine with just getting rid of it. Less sacrifice fodder. Don't want that Goose to stick around. Keep making food tokens for them to sacrifice to Corvold. Then next turn, obviously, we go with the... Well, let's see. We will have Well, Domri will actually have 5 mana, so I think we'll just get our... do we want the Crasher or Ilharg? Probably go Ilharg, and then just hope they don't have removal for our... So they obviously block here, but I think that's fine. I think we want to just kind of keep them off permanent so they can sacrifice. And the fewer creatures they have, the fewer creatures they can block with. Just going to make our trample damage that much better. So getting rid of the Goose was huge, so they can't ramp into a Corvold here or anything like that. I think they're looking at Ilharg. Well, if they have the removal, that would suck, but then we still get to keep our Quartzwood Crasher unless they have all the removal in their hand. Okay, so they just waste their turn playing Bedevil, and they do nothing else. That's okay. Yeah, I think having Ilharg around is decent. Rhythm is good. But I think I'd rather just get the creature out. Should we plus Domri, even though there's no use for that mana? What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 mana next turn. Okay, Rankle. Can kill our Domri, or they can hit our hand and make us discard something. No, just going after Domri, that's fine. We can replay it if we want to for 5. Take up all of our mana. There we go. Alright, so we got some options here. Probably want to get rid of Rankle. I think getting the rhythm down is clutch. And I think we want to get rid of Rankle. Just trying to eliminate their threats and the stuff they can potentially sacrifice. And now we get a free creature out of it, and then we can haste in Ilharg with the Rhythm of the Wild, and then we can use Ilharg to get an Arynx down as well with double right. So yeah, this 5/5 is not too intimidating. Wow, Lotus Field. I always wonder why people play Lotus Field in like a 3-color deck. I mean, I guess they're a sacrifice build, so it makes sense. But alright, choose haste. I'll attack with you and with you. Put you down. +1. +1. Okay, you can block one of them. I'm going to kill our Ilharg. We can just shuffle it back into our top of our library. You take 11, and we make an 11/11. And we have our Quartzwood Crasher down as well. Seems pretty decent. Yeah, we'll take that action. So they definitely need something here. Okay, so they shock in. They have all the cards in the world. Trade Crafter. Obviously going to get rid of our 6/6 as our smallest. So they do get to draw. At 2 life, those can be hard for them to attack in with our Rhythm of the Wild down. Mayhem Devil. Okay, you have 1 mana open. You have a way to kill it for 1 mana. Bone Splinters. Wow, that was clutch. Oh, we still get the Arynx down to haste in, so that's fine. Sure, you can block this, but you're going to die from this. Works for me. Haste, +1. And attack. Quartzwood Crasher making dudes, making free creatures out. That was clutch. Whew. Wow. Alright, so we won all 3 of our games. I think that's a pretty fantastic showing of the deck. I mean, Corvold is no joke as a commander. Neither is Anarch of Bolas or Niv Mizzet. They're all very strong, powerful commanders. Have tons of removal. Obviously, we saw removal being used against us, and we were able to fight through it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and Let me know if there's any changes you would make to this particular type of build, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right, take care, guys.